Every racing driver remembers the first time they started getting quicker. The lap times begin to fall, corners suddenly make sense, and every session felt like another step forward. Then one day, it stopped. You keep putting in the hours, watching the videos, and tweaking your setup, hoping the next session will finally be the breakthrough you've been chasing. But somehow, you're still the same driver you were months ago. So before we go any further, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt completely stuck as a racing driver? If you have, let me know in the comments how long you've been chasing that next breakthrough. I'm genuinely interested to see how many people are going through exactly the same thing. Because today, we're going to uncover why almost every driver reaches a plateau, and why most never escape it. Welcome to Sabotage, the psychology of racing, and when progress slows down, most drivers assume they're missing something. Maybe it's the setup, or maybe it's the hardware, or maybe it's another tutorial they haven't watched yet. The answer always seems to exist somewhere outside the car, but after years of racing in both karting and sim racing, I've realised that's rarely the real problem. Most drivers don't stop improving because they run out of knowledge. They stop improving because they stop paying attention. Our brains are designed to automate repetitive tasks. That's why changing gear, turning to a corner, or applying the throttle eventually happen without conscious thought. It's an incredible ability, until one of those habits is wrong. Because once a mistake becomes automatic, it stops feeling like a mistake. It simply becomes the way you drive. And if you no longer notice it, you never give yourself the chance to fix it. That's why more practice doesn't always produce more speed. Sometimes all you're doing is reinforcing habits that are already holding you back. The biggest difference I've noticed between average drivers and genuinely fast drivers isn't talent, it's curiosity. Every lap is treated like an experiment. They're constantly asking questions. Why did that corner feel different? Why did the rear become unstable? Or why this lap is easier even though it wasn't the quickest? They're not simply driving, they're analysing. Because once you understand why something works, you can repeat it with confidence. Average drivers chase lap times, fast drivers chase understanding. And understanding is what eventually creates consistent pace. But even when drivers recognise their mistakes, most of them still never break through. And the reason has nothing to do with driving ability. Real improvement is uncomfortable. Changing your braking technique will probably make you slower at first. Adjusting your racing line will feel unnatural. Trying a different steering input will almost certainly lead to mistakes. For a short period, everything gets worse before it gets better. That's the point where most drivers abandon the process, not because the new approach doesn't work, but because feeling slower feels like failure. The fastest drivers expect that discomfort. They understand that temporary regression is often evidence that genuine learning is taking place. They're prepared to sacrifice today's lap time if it means becoming a faster driver in the future. Most people aren't willing to make that trade. So why do most drivers never break their plateau? Not because they lack talent, or not because they don't practice enough, because they continue repeating what feels familiar. Comfort creates consistency, but it doesn't always create progress. The moment you're willing to become uncomfortable again, that's usually the moment real improvement begins. The next time you finish a session, don't ask yourself, was I fast today? Ask yourself, what did I learn today? Because the drivers who keep asking that question are the ones who eventually leave everyone else behind. And if you've enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you click the video on screen now, talking about the hardest truth every racing driver learns.